Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Monday the 23rd of November 2020, and we've seen both gold and silver fall below resistance levels as strong PMIs and early vaccination programs are reported. So let's take a look. Now, first of all, a shout out to our video produced yesterday entitled Are We Reaching Peak Silver?, which was episode 2. And of course, our Gold and Silver Weekly Update, which was published on Saturday. And we've included links to both of these, plus Peak Silver 1 and Peak Gold 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the description box below, just to make it easier for you to find. Now, at the time of writing, which is 2100 hours GMT, we can see that gold prices are down $35 today at $1,836, a fall of 1.9%. And silver is down 60 cents or 2.4% at $23.60. And we have to ask why. Before we look at that, what about other precious metals? Well, platinum is down 2%, but palladium is up 1%. And surprise, surprise, even Bitcoin is down today after its recent huge rally by nearly 2%. So what's going on? Well, the dollar index is admittedly up, but not a great deal, and currently stands at 92.52. That's up 0.13 on the day. So positive, but a very small increase. So we've seen gold slice through the 1850 support level, which has held pretty firm for a while, and it's now just above its low for the day, which was $1,831. And silver has fallen through a number of small support levels and is 15 cents currently above the day's low of $23.45. Well, the main reason a number of analysts are quoting are the market PMI reports announced today, where the manufacturing index was higher in November at 56.7 compared with 53.4 in October. And the services PMI rose to 57.7 compared with 56.9. Both these figures were quite well above expectations and to some degree surprised the markets. Now looking at gold, 1860, that's $1,860, is seen as resistance. But we still view 1800 as being quite strong support. And it will be interesting to see if gold slices through that level either tomorrow or Wednesday as easily as it did the 1850 earlier today. Silver could indeed fall below the $23 level this week, though we are expecting a fair amount of support at $22.75 and then $21.80 underneath, with $20 being an extremely strong floor beneath that again. But we're still holding to our predictions as mentioned in our Saturday video update. Now, equity markets have risen again today, with the Dow up 327 points or 1.1%. The S&P 500 is up 0.5%, and the Nasdaq is up 0.2%. While UK and most European markets closed just marginally down by less than 0.3%, but were up higher when the news about a new vaccine was announced. You see, it's our view that whilst the PMIs were good, this should not have had a negative effect, frankly, on silver, but news concerning the early availability, not only of the 2 COVID-19 vaccines, but potentially a third one, announced today, has undoubtedly pushed investors to more risky assets and to pull out of the traditional safe havens such as gold and silver. So this, in our view, has had an equal effect on prices as the PMI. So let's just take a quick look at what Reuters have had to say later this afternoon. Reuters article dated 23rd of November 2020. Vaccine progress lifts stock, dollar still sickly. Investors scooped up stocks, commodities and emerging market currencies and gave the dollar a wide berth as AstraZeneca and Oxford University provided markets with their now regular monthly shot of encouraging COVID-19 vaccine news. The stocks index of Europe's 600 largest firms rose to its highest since February. Wall Street was pointing up 0.6% and Brent futures were nearly 1.5% stronger. AstraZeneca and Oxford vaccine, which is set to cost just a few dollars a shot and should be easier to ramp up and store than vaccines by Pfizer and BioNTech and Moderna, could also be up to 90% effective. As the dollar buckled through a range it has been in for the past few months, the euro touched $1.19, but it was the emerging markets that are likely to benefit from a cheaper and easier to store drug that rallied the most. South Africa's rand shrugged off a double sovereign credit rating downgrade over the weekend to add 0.8%. Russia's ruble and Mexican peso both climbed 0.5% to bolster their stellar months. The combined vaccine news of the last few weeks will lead to a much faster pace of normalization to our daily lives compared to what we would have assumed just a few weeks ago. Analysts at Deutsche Bank said in a note to clients, by spring things should be looking much closer to normal. Markets' optimism also came after a top official of the US government's vaccine development efforts said Sunday that the first vaccines there could be given to US healthcare workers and some others by mid-December. US shares look set to mimic gains in Europe and Asia as Nasdaq futures rose 0.4%, Dow futures rose 0.7%, and US E-mini futures for the S&P 500 were 0.6% higher at 3,576. The rally also showed investors are willing to look past the grim US case numbers, which topped 12 million over the weekend, and mixed European economic data released on Monday. IHS Markit's headline flash composite PMI, seen as a good guide to economic health, fell to 45.1 in November from October's 50, the levels separating growth from contraction. A Reuters poll had predicted a shallower dip to 46.1. Vaccine hopes, though, and expectations of more stimulus from the European Central Bank next month meant optimism improved. The composite future output index jumped to 60.1 from 56.5, its highest since February. Today's vaccine news is positive, but it is only partly responsible for the rally in stock markets, said Philip Shaw, chief economist at Investec in London. It's also been driven by the news that the US hopes to start the vaccination program in under 3 weeks. Eurozone government bonds saw some selling as investors also focused on the fact that the major economies remain under strict lockdowns and that COVID-19 cases are not receding. Benchmark German 10-year Bund yields were last flat at -0.57% off a 2-week low. The European share rally took the region's November gains to 15% and followed another record high for Asian equities, even before the announcement of the latest vaccine news. But as we've mentioned earlier, UK and European markets actually marginally fell by the end of the day, which was after when this was produced. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan ended the day 0.8% higher. Analysts said the gains belied some uncertainty as monetary and fiscal help for the US economy remained elusive. US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said last week that key pandemic lending programs at the Federal Reserve would expire on the 31st of December, putting the outgoing Trump administration at odds with the central bank and potentially adding stress to the economy. With the vaccine news and dollar index, which tracks the dollar against a basket of 6 major rivals, down to 92.097, commodity markets were still bullish, with traders optimistic about a recovery in crude demand pushing oil higher. West Texas Intermediate crude gained 71 cents or 1.67% to $43.13 a barrel, in line with the gains in Brent crude futures. Both benchmarks jumped 5% last week. Safe haven gold, meanwhile, drifted at $1,864 per ounce, having lost almost 10% since peaking in earlier August. And of course, as we know, it's gone even lower. Positive sentiment continues to be driven by the recent good news about the efficacy of coronavirus vaccines in development, and the expectation that the OPEC Plus meeting at the end of the month could see the group extend current cuts by 3 to 6 months, said Stephen Innes, Chief Global Market Strategist at AXI, a financial services firm. End of article. So, potentially exciting times ahead, and possibly an earlier end to this pandemic than originally envisaged, though frankly we're still not convinced that we're out of the woods yet, and that it will still, in reality, be some time, probably the second or third quarter of 2021, before things really start to get back to normal. If ever it does, of course. Now, it's a short update for today, and we hope you found it useful. Do share your thoughts below. Thank you so much for listening, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel, not forgetting to press the bell sign so you're notified of our videos as and when they are published. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on social media. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe either as a free or paying member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.